So I said what I said, made a status. So I went in to go check my mail. And what caused me to have this status, or the stated status, was I noticed a woman who had beautiful eyes and nice braids. And as is the conversation or how the revelations go or my thoughts go, I'm like, you know what? We live in a society to where it's hypersexualized through sexual advertisements on TV and now the internet, the Instagram culture, whatever the case may be. We live in a culture to where, unfortunately, corporations use sex to sell things. And it conditions humans to want benefits of relationship that only come with actually having a relationship with people. Nobody just goes up to somebody and kisses them or, hugs them or anything else. I saw this video the other day and this girl was all up in these people's face as a prank, asking them questions, and they were just like, yeah, why are you up on me like this? So my whole essence of my statement was that no, does anybody naturally get up in people's face or show affection readily? No. But you can be programmed to. Take porn, for instance. You got all these dudes looking at porn, masturbating, whatever the case may be. If you can get readily what you want at the hands of a computer, or if you can go to the strip club and, be looked at as a piece of bread or a dollar, and I've been to a strip club before, and these people will sit down and have a conversation with you and try to make light or have fun with you or whatever, and make you let your hair down, have a good time or whatever, and you just programmed to believe that, hey, this is something I can pay for or whatever. We're in a situation, or we're in a society that's highly sexualized. And the disadvantage of that is that it really affects families before there are even families that are made. You got single people looking at porn or going to strip clubs or, being enticed by sexual advertising. And then they get in a relationship and realize that, hey, it doesn't work like that. I remember when I got married and found out that sex is actually, you got to put some work into it. It's like, it's cardio as well. Being funny, but being real as well. It's just like, it's more than just you getting gratified. There's actually another person there that, you have to care about their feelings and emotions way before the sexual experience. Relationship takes work. And I mean, we know that at face value. But the truth about the matter is that that's not what we're feeding. That's not what we're feeding our society. That's not what we're feeding these kids. These kids grow up and, you got girls looking at Nicki Minaj and looking at, what's her name? Looking at, what's the chick name? Looking at Meg Thee Stallion, and they're seeing, oh, all I got to do is shake my behind. All I got to do is talk about my body. All I got to do is talk about my WAP. And I can get a man. And then that's hurting the woman because it's cheapening her, and it's also hurting the man because then the man isn't taught to work for sex. He isn't taught to work for a relationship. He's basically taught to expect for a woman to show skin. He's basically taught to be conditioned to believe that women are just loose and that women just want to, frolic with him. He's taught to want loose women. Yes, there are women of standard. And there are women of standard. And the thing about it is there are women of standard that say they're a woman of standard, but then they'll sit and they'll listen to a Nicki Minaj. Or they're a woman of standard that will sit and they don't find anything wrong with listening to a Meg Thee Stallion because, oh, this is my jam. You don't find anything wrong with listening to a dude, the great woman, but then you're out here talking about, oh, there are no good men. Well, you know why there aren't any good men? Because the men that could be good, you're supporting something that's supporting their lower nature. And so there are no good men that want to work for a good woman because you are supporting something that appeals to his base nature. I mean, come on, think about it. This whole sexual culture, we got these songs on the radio that talk nothing about sex and about body, yaddy, 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 and all this other stuff. We got people on TikTok, showing flesh. We got people on Instagram showing flesh. And then we expect to have healthy relationships. Then we expect to have lower divorce rates in and outside of the church. I mean, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And I honestly, when I was coming home, I honestly thought, I'm like, there should be some kind of legislation to ban stuff like pornography and like sex advertising. I mean, I'm not saying that we rule people through legislation primarily, because people are going to want to do what they want to do. They're going to want to claim that freedom of speech and everything like that. But I can make a pretty good argument for why we need to ban sex advertising and why we need to ban sexually explicit music over the radio airwaves. I can make a pretty good argument to why we need to ban pornography, not just for kids, but for adults too, because in the long range of things, it's detrimental to the family. Like the case in point is detrimental to the family. I can make a case that porn is wrong. I can make a legitimate case, not just standing on the Bible, but I can make a legitimate case without the Bible that porn is wrong, that sex advertising is wrong, that these crap songs that they got people singing on the radio is wrong. Why in the world is the number one song right now on iTunes, number one hip hop song, Body Yaddy Yaddy? Like that shouldn't be. And the thing about it is Meg Thee Stallion is a college student working to get a degree. And she, oh yeah, child, I'm going to get my degree. But at the same time, this is my vagina. I can do what I want to do with it. And I can apparently sing what I want to sing and say what I want to say because that's what I can do. And don't tell me nothing because I'm fighting for the rights of black women. And I'm in college getting my degree. It's backwards, man. It's backwards. No, you can't do whatever you want. Or I'm not a role model. Listen, what you're doing is detrimental to the family dynamic that you come out of. It's just like, talking about drugs and talking about the street life and everything, especially the black community. Like, we want to do so much community good things, but then we shoot ourselves in the foot. We want to talk about Black Lives Matter and make it non-political and everything like that. But yet we still show that we still like to listen to music that doesn't do anything better for our community. And there's no excuse because there are rappers that are doing positive things and are talking about positive things, but lo and behold, what you see on the charts, everybody talking about baser things and not talking about positive things. And it is directly related to the buyers. You're buying it because you like it. You don't buy positive music because you don't like positive music, so you don't. Back in the days, a lot of things we were watching was censored, but now it's whatever. Yeah, and even with things being censored, it was just censored. It didn't change the fact that it wasn't, what it was. But it's just like getting people to see like, yo, you're hurting yourself. And so I came in here and it really got into some really great conversation, which I'm glad. But I came in here to say, yo, I said what I said. My wife had a problem because, every time you see a fine woman or a beautiful woman, you want to make a deep status. I told her, first of all, it's not deep, because it's basically saying everything I've said up until this point. And if you haven't heard, you can go back afterwards. Be real, all right? I'm not stupid, okay? My wife is beautiful. My wife is mine. My wife is my flower that belongs to me because I gave my life to her through marriage. But I'm not going to be stupid and say that there aren't other beautiful women in the world, because that's a lie. I only have eyes for you, but I do have eyes, and I do see that there are other beautiful women. And I'm not going to be stupid and play the game to where I suppress acknowledging that there's somebody that's actually beautiful to not offend you. And I believe for the most part she was playing, but for, you know, any woman that's in a relationship, any woman that's in a marriage or whatever, take heart in the fact that your man is actually vocal where he doesn't really have to be. Because he could just keep things in his heart and not be open and try to be hidden. And then you have another problem on your hand, because then you got a secretly lustful person. I'm not saying that lust is okay because you do it out in the open, and neither was I lusting after this beautiful woman that was in the post office, because that's not what was happening. I noticed, hey, this woman is beautiful. She has some beautiful eyes. She got her hair together. There's things that we can see and that we can comment on without being called a dog and all of that other stuff. There's things that we can comment on. So that's another thing people got to dial back. Don't act stupid like you can't see beauty and like you can't acknowledge beauty. You can. And if you feel like you can't, then that's a problem somewhere in that dynamic. I believe it depends on how it was said and carried out. It was said and carried out just how I did it on that status. She's got a problem that I made a status, and I beat her to the punch because I said, yeah, I saw a beautiful woman. But, you know, be secure, and I'm not saying that she's insecure, but I'm just like, you know, be secure in the fact that, you know, you're beautiful and you can appreciate the beauty of another woman. I can appreciate when another man is handsome or has his stuff together. Does that, you know, make you feel some type of way if your significant other is around these people? Maybe. I mean, you know, I would say in my case, it has, because I've been very vocal on here about, you know, my wife and musicians that have crossed the line and been very disrespectful. So yeah. But anyways. Oh, go on my timeline. It's there. But anyways, in essence, what I was saying, I said what I said. We don't jump at opportunities to be readily affectionate. However, things like pornography, sex advertising, explicit music program us to do these things. And so in as much as we realize that it programs us to do these things, we have to be mindful of what we're feeding ourselves. Do you believe this creates an issue or certain insecurity? No, I don't believe that it creates certain issues or certain insecurities. I believe that it reveals them. It definitely would reveal certain insecurities. And like I said, I will go back to myself. I remember very early on in the marriage between me and my wife, most of the times my insecurity was also harped in the fact of me knowing that at least in my heart, not being faithful. It really does. So me having a problem with my wife going out certain places and being with certain people pointed not to necessarily, it pointed to an insecurity that was founded on me not even trusting my own self, and knowing that had it been me, if the shoes were switched, I'm not sure if I would, you know, if I would be, you know, faithful in the situation, as far as like, you know, even to the point of looking or entertaining a flirtatious behavior. So, you know, that's something that I had to encounter and be honest with myself, and then be honest with my wife, and then not judge her or not put anything on her because of undealt issues within myself. So, you know, that's one of the things. It can reveal insecurities, but then, you know, after you deal with that, it really shouldn't. It really goes back to that person. Like, okay, see where I'm at on time. All right, I'll say this. Like, if I said something where I told my wife, you know, this person coming on strong to me or whatever, first of all, it wouldn't even get there, because the minute you coming on strong to me, first of all, I'm not going to be around you in no kind of setting. I don't care what kind of work we're doing. I'm not going to be around you to where you're making advances. And to be accountable, I'm going to tell my wife exactly what it is. I'm going to tell her just how you coming on and everything, so it's all out in the open, so we good. So I don't have to be mixed up with you in any kind of way, or give myself any kind of room for anything to happen. You guys know your spouse. Yeah, you do have to know your spouse. And at the same time, if somebody's coming on to you, cut it off. Like, period. But that's a point of contention sometimes. But I'll end there.